Well, he's a cutie pie. I might put him in Potomac. Okay, yes. Yeah, he can come right on to Potomac.
What's up, y'all? It's your boy Richie Sky. We back on another video. Back. I want to thank you so much for tuning into this channel. If you haven't done so by now, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. Hit that notification bell button so that you can stay locked into when we drop new content on this channel. And you can also check out my unfiltered channel in the description below. That's kind of where we do more podcasting, more talking about topics that we don't necessarily get a chance to touch on here, because I try to keep the news concise and tight on this channel, okay? Speaking of news, today we're going to be talking about Nene leaks. We're going to be talking about Wendy Williams, Andy Cohen, Lisa Vanderpump. We got all of that stuff, and I want you guys to pay particularly close attention to the headline, okay? Because the headline comes from our friends over at Love B. Scott. It says, "This can't be good. Nene leaks, retweets, call to fire Andy Cohen," okay? Crazy stuff. But before we get into that, first we gotta talk about Wendy Williams, okay? Wendy Williams made an announcement that she was, well, I don't know what the announcement was for. Take a look.
Hello. Hi, it's me from home. And hopefully for not too long. You know what I'm waiting for? I'm waiting for the state of New York to say that we as a show can go back. Now, we got 200 people in our audience. We'll never have that again. But I want to go back to do our show. Nothing makes me happier than being Wendy on the Wendy show. You know what I mean? I got the love and the boyfriends and all that other kind of stuff. I'm in my house, but what I want the most is to be with you. I miss you. I miss you a lot. I couldn't wait to wear this dress, okay? I'm gonna wear it again on the show. So don't act like you never saw it, okay? It's pink and it's green and it's beautiful and I love it. I love you more. Thank you.
So I'm assuming this was basically to announce that she would be not doing any more at-home shows until, I don't know when. The statement from her press release reads this: "The goal is to be back in the studio as soon as we are allowed. If that is delayed until later in the year, we may revisit the at-home shows." Now, this is going to be quite interesting because we've had reports from Tasha K indicating that Wendy was hospitalized. So there's that we have to deal with. We know that she left allegedly, according to the statements put out by the network, because of issues with her Graves' disease. But my thinking is this. I mean, given that, you know, she has so many health issues, it's gonna be kind of difficult for her to get back into the studio, especially since the numbers for what we're currently dealing with are still going up. I don't necessarily know when she would be getting back. And I also think that this was an excellent PR move, okay, to counteract what we've been hearing about her issues. You know what I'm saying? They needed to get her back looking like they needed to get her looking, okay? She was looking like she was about to do a real show. Not in she was doing some haggard, real jacked up wigs from home, and she was looking real frail and fragile. But in this little clip right here, she was looking good, okay? She was looking good. That's the Wendy we know and love. That's the Wendy we want to see. And to be quite honest with you, what I would love to see Wendy do is, if you can't do the at-home shows, why not take it back to your radio days and do a podcast? I think that would be an excellent idea for her and Norman to just sort of sit there and speak about whatever it is that's going on in hot topics right now. Even if she's not looking her best, she can still talk that talk. You know what I'm saying? Because in this little clip right here, she sounded back to her normal self. So I wouldn't mind seeing her, or at least, you know, they could put the podcast on, you know, Apple or iTunes, and also put it on YouTube and then add in some graphics. There are plenty of YouTube channels out there that have nothing but graphics, and they do amazingly well. That's just my thought, because I feel like, you know, Wendy's voice is missing in pop culture right now because she's not with us, and it will be interesting to hear her take on these things. And plus, it's just exciting. We love Wendy, you know? Moving right along, let's talk about this whole situation with Nene and Andy Cohen, okay? It is going down. I feel like I got my popcorn. Shout out to my boy Shamari, who is part of the Sky Squad, who put me on game with this. Our friends over at Love B. Scott kind of caught all the tweets that were going on. So I want to just try my hardest to break this down for you guys in a way that really makes a lot of sense, okay? Okay, so let's start the story where it kind of originated from, which was Andy commenting on the firings of Stassi and Kristen and Max and Brent from Vanderpump Rules for their problematic actions and behaviors, okay? So Andy said this on his radio show. He said, there's so much happening in the Bravo universe. I will say this, so much talk about Vanderpump Rules, and then of course the reunion ended up airing last night. I will say this about what happened. I absolutely support Bravo's decision. I think it was the right decision. And I want to remind people, because I've been getting so many tweets and messages and whatever about Vanderpump Rules and about Southern Charm and other shows. I feel like I remind people of this all the time. I'm not in charge of programming at Bravo anymore. I am not an executive producer of Vanderpump Rules, and I don't have anything to do with the show except I love it and that I host the reunions, okay? He says, I don't produce the show, so what I want people to know is I have no say in hiring and firing. Now, you guys may remember Bravo announced this, that the cast members were fired, or that they wouldn't be returning next season, but they didn't make a statement elaborating on why they took that stance. But when they posted it on their social media accounts, Nene responded, well, alrighty then. Now we have a few more questions to ask about in other areas where there's a major difference. Should we talk privately or publicly? So we talked about that in yesterday's episode, okay? So Andy says that he did not see Nene's post, but he has recently chatted with Real Housewives of Atlanta co-star Kandi Burruss. He said this, well, there's a lot more to discuss. There's a lot more, and we're already having those discussions. And I had a great, very long talk with Kandi about 2 days ago. She had some really fantastic suggestions for how we can move forward, and we're all ears. Now, this is important because, you know, Kandi and Nene had been sort of beefing because Kandi thought that Nene was referring to her when Nene was talking about somebody getting spinoff after spinoff after spinoff, or, you know, that sort of thing. You know, there's some discussion about whether she was really talking about Lisa Vanderpump or whether or not she was talking about Kandi Burruss, okay? But it's interesting that Andy is having those conversations with Kandi and not all of the cast members. You know what I mean? And maybe he is, but he specified Kandi. So I want you guys to note that, okay? So now when we look back at the article from Love B. Scott, we see fans were commenting and Nene was retweeting a lot of their comments, okay? One fan responded to a post of Nene's and says, change starts at the top. Fire the face of Bravo, fire Andy Cohen, okay? To which another fan replied and Nene retweeted, I completely agree. Change begins with Andy, okay? Now, you know, we talked about Andy clarifying his role with Bravo, saying he supports Stassi and Kristen's firing, although he has no say-so in casting on Vanderpump Rules. But it's still clear that he's an executive producer on the Real Housewives franchise and Watch What Happens Live, okay? So Nene also retweeted a fan questioning why Andy was talking to fellow cast member Kandi Burruss and a few other shady things related to Bravo and accusations of problematic behavior, okay? I don't know, but I had a great, very long talk with Kandi 2 days ago. She had some really fantastic suggestions for how we can move forward, and we're all ears. Annoyed me. Assert that you're going to have talks with all Bravo libs on your payroll. So that was something, again, Nene retweeted that, and she also retweeted, why is at Bravo TV, at Bravo Andy holding discussions with Kandi as if she's the boss of Real Housewives of Atlanta? Why? She also retweeted someone who said, exactly, Nene leaks Andy at Bravo TV has to know Real Housewives of Atlanta has higher ratings than the Kardashians, yet they make a significant amount more, 4.5 million each. Andy, that's problematic behavior. Kim Z keeps her show year after year. It barely has 500K viewers. Okay, so then Nene Leakes also, under that, also put this. All of these companies coming out with large contributions towards social justice. Clearly, there are lots of executives sitting in those offices with no heart and no feelings. You sit there knowing a black person hasn't been treated equal. I just want you to know you're a piece of ish, okay? Now, we talked about that tweet and that post on Instagram yesterday. So there's a lot that's at play here. I just want you guys to know. I kind of agree with something that Nene is saying, that, you know, the executives should be having conversations with all of the housewives, all of the, you know, of their, I think this is one of those situations where you have to sort of have a town hall with your cast, and that means cast across the board, especially from some of your higher rated franchises, to get a better idea and understanding of the landscape of what's going on right now. Get an idea of what people are feeling, how they perceive the treatment of their cast in relation to other casts, and so forth. I feel like that opens the door to a better working environment. Now, the other thing I want to point out to you guys is Lisa Vanderpump made a statement with regards to the firings of Stassi, Kristen, Brett, and Max from Vanderpump Rules. I'm going to read it to you. We talked about it yesterday on AfterBuzz TV. I stepped in to do an interview with them where we talked about it, but I want to talk to you guys about it here really quickly to let you guys know what she said. She said, over the past 2 weeks, many things have been brought to my attention of which I and many others were previously unaware. It was necessary for me to be quiet until now, until decisions have been made. Now I can freely speak from the heart. As we've seen such devastating sadness that has played out globally, we all have a part to play to create a kinder, more just society. My hope is for this generation to treat each other with respect and humanity and realize that actions have and should have consequences. I love and adore our employees, and I'm deeply saddened by some of the lack of judgment that has been displayed. As many of you know, after watching me for 10 years, I have always been an equal rights activist and ally. My family, my business, and I condemn all forms of cruelty, bigotry, unequal treatment. We've never tolerated it in the workplace or our lives. While you only see a fraction of our employees on the show, a specific friend group across all of our companies, we have always had a diverse group of people, every color, ethnicity, and orientation. Most of our employees have worked with us for over a decade, and we have become a family, one that embraces and celebrates each other's differences. I am proud of the inclusive company that we've created. We will continue to embrace diversity as one of our greatest strengths, and I'm excited to give you a deeper look into the multifaceted fabric of our company in the future. The world needs to move forward with a kinder generation. Everybody deserves to feel safe, heard, and appreciated in their communities. So much of what has transpired in the world is not right, fair, or acceptable. We all have work to do to create a society we can be proud of. And I hope as we venture forward, we strive to live in a world where kindness and compassion are our highest values. Thank you for listening. Love, Lisa. Now, let me say this. To me, that was a whole bunch of nothing because I really didn't hear her address the specifics that we're asking people to really address right now, okay? We the people want to know why it is that this has happened, and we want you to state it explicitly. And I feel like by stating it explicitly, you then really condemn the behavior, okay? Because when the two guys had to address their problematic tweets at the reunion, she said, well, you know, if I fired everybody who did something problematic, then I wouldn't have anybody working here. Well, I mean, I guess that means that you need to hire a new staff, because I don't even know what is going to happen with this show now. And I'm almost inclined to say just throw the whole show away and come out with something brand new, okay? Come out with something brand new. But that's just my opinion on the matter. You guys let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell button. And of course, as the news pops and it drops, we got you on lock, okay? We'll see you in the next video.